Good morning. Welcome to my craft room. Come on in and have a sit down. Oh, my back's still bothering me. It usually does. This will probably be a short video because I don't have a whole lot to show. For one thing, I have been gone several days this week, not been here to do anything, and although on one of my days out, I crocheted a little bit. I wasn't driving, so I was able to do some crocheting. But my first whip is actually going to be my normal when I go somewhere knitting. I just didn't feel like knitting yesterday when we were out. But I did take my normal car knitting out of my pocketbook because I need to do something about the ball. It's getting a bit tangled, the skein rather. This is a hat. The pattern's coming out real pretty. Has some nice little details in it. This is by Laura Concert. She has a Ravelry. She also has a YouTube channel, The Crocheting Hoovian. But she does a lot of knitting now. And I won her pattern in a giveaway. See? I gotta fix that before it goes back in the old pocketbook. Yeah, I won that pattern and I'm giving it a shot. It's going slow. I started it forever ago and it has the twisted rib stitch, which I do not really care for because it knocks me off my flow. Like I told you before, I am lovable, but I'm very contrary and set in my ways. I like things when I get used to something, that's the way I like it. Well, anyway, it's a good pattern. If you got a couple dollars you want to put into patterns, go check out Laura Concert on Ravelry. The project that I did take with me and work on, and this is going to be a bingo square, is the Call the Midwife inspired blanket. I've got 6 motifs. You can tell I'm on my fourth repeat. I think it's a 6 or 7 row repeat. I had originally cast on this blanket using a different pattern. But I made the mistake of putting on using a hook that was too small for the yarn. I at first thought the yarn was baby yarn, but then I actually looked at the yarn because there's no wrapper on it. I looked at the yarn and it was more worsted weight, so I had to rip it out and start a new one. And I decided to go with a different version of the pattern. Like Crochet Crowd is who I went with first, and they have you cast on in sets of 16. Well, this is a set of 17 because they have an extra chain in between, and I liked the extra chain. It's more traditional because I'd watched a pattern she didn't know the name of the blanket. It was a pattern her mother had made, and she had the extra stitch there where Crochet Crowd only had one chain space. I'm enjoying that. I enjoyed the Crochet Crowd one too, but I like the looks of this one better. And that was a bingo square, was to frog a project and use the yarn to make something. So that's what I did. Now, there's several ladies who are participating and the Rose Likes Crochet put out a challenge to make washcloths for Wings, which is a battered women's shelter organization. They help the women get out of the situation and get up back on their feet, which is a good cause. And that was something I was considering donating to, even though where I go to church has, my sewing seeds group. They, in the ministry that it's involved with, donates to a plethora of places. And the Battered Women's Shelter is one of them. And I told Scraptastic Yarns that I was planning on making some washcloths, and if the Lord didn't provide the funds to mail them, then I would donate them to a women's shelter locally. The Lord did provide the funds to buy some more cotton yarn, because I didn't have that much. So, and I showed that in my unboxing. And my first square was just single crochet back and forth, excuse me, in the back loop only. And then I did a round one. I believe I already showed these, and I said that that's something I'd never done, was to crochet a washcloth. I like my washcloths normally knitted. Now there's another challenge. Oh yeah, Charmed Grammy is doing the washcloth, where if you send her washcloths to send to Rose, then you get entered into a drawing for a beautiful glass piece that she makes herself. Beautiful. So that may be the person I send them into. I think Pamela's Adoring Crochet is doing, as well as Jane from Scraptastic Yarns. I believe all three of them, and there may be more. Those are just the three that stuck in my head. But I think I'm going to, if the Lord provides, I'll send them to Charmed Granny, because I'd love to have a chance to win one of those glass yarn balls with a crochet hook through it. Now, Granny D, she's my homegirl. I love her. I call her my homegirl because she's actually my home state girl. We both live in North Carolina. And she put out a moss stitch challenge with a hashtag. And I ignored it for a while, because the moss stitch in knitting is one of my favorite stitches. I just love the look of moss stitch in knitting, and I enjoy the rhythm of making it. But I've resisted the crochet moss stitch for several reasons. One, it looks nothing like the moss stitch in knitting. And stick in the mud here, once I get used to something, that's what I like. So I was resistant to it because I didn't like it. Doesn't look like a knitting moss stitch. And in fact, it is actually called the linen stitch. It's another name for it. And that's what I prefer calling it, because although it has a similar construction with moss, it doesn't look like the knitted moss stitch. But I love my Granny D, and I say, well, I'll make at least one thing for her challenge. And I decided, well, I'm making dishcloths anyway, so I'll make a moss stitch dishcloth. And I have to make two, and so that's what I did. Now, one of them turned out smaller than what I intended, but it'll work for a baby. There it is. This is the stitch itself is nice. It makes a dense fabric, which is good, like if for winter things, when you don't want a bunch of holes. This, I used a fairly big hook on this, and it's closed in. And then I saw where there was in square, and I really enjoyed the linen stitch. I'm not calling it moss stitch. I love you, Granny D, but I'm not going to call it moss stitch because it's not. Don't look like it anyway. Anywho, I decided to do a square. And oh, I agree with you, Granny D. This is a beautiful stitch. And once you get past the first few rows, it's not that hard to do. So you did convert me to the linen stitch, Granny. You converted me. I will be using that stitch again. I tried doing a scarf out of it, but I chose the mandala yarn that I was going to make a scarf for charity. And that's a thin yarn. It's a weight of 3. And and the hook I chose to use is on the small side. So this is taking forever. And I'm not going to do this. I'm going to rip this out. But it is beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I love the way the color's working. But I like double crochets are my favorite. And even a half double. But I've got another pattern in mind for this yarn. It'll be something, if you've seen Marley Bird's Easy Shawlette, the pattern I have in mind is very similar to that, where it has solid rows and window rows. So that's what that will eventually be, but I'm frogging that. Now that could probably go for the, excuse me, my eye's itching. But that'll probably go for the my eye distracted me. Anyway, I already showed it on one video, but I want to show it again. I haven't worked on it anymore. But I've got to show. I didn't have the lid on there good. It's my gnome home. Now I got to figure out a way to make this lay flat and stay flat. It's wanting to curl up on me. But I've got Christmas lights on it. And I was thinking about that Carrie Underwood song, Redneck Woman, where she keeps her Christmas lights on all year long. Although Jane from Scraptastic Yarn said in New Mexico they keep their lights up and they turn them on for parties and stuff, which I thought was really cool. And I got to put them in other places. I just haven't worked on this. I've lost a bit of my crojo, so I haven't been crocheting as much. But I did make some progress on the Luck of the Draw. Come out with a new square this week. I haven't done the black part, but I did put in my new color. And this is the second round, my second blanket from the round 3. And then I went back to 1, and I've already got my 10 rows, my 10 colors in that lapgan. So I started another one. This one with black. I'm enjoying this. And actually this pattern right here is my happy spot right now. I've been in the mood to watch TV and movies. Like on Hulu. I can binge watch series. And that's what I've been wanting to work on. Here's my data and stitches. I still haven't bordered it and attached it. Just really haven't been in the mood to crochet a whole lot. Not like I usually do. I'm just checking because I'm all the time forgetting things. There is one more thing, is I can't think of their names, but there are a couple ladies who are doing a beaded wearable challenge. And I was planning on making my daughter a poncho. And they done Bag-O-Day's one of her ponchos and put beads in it. So I decided that sounded like fun. I don't have either I don't have the beads they suggest on hand, or the ones I have similar are packed up in the closet, and I really don't want to get into that closet right now. I've got too much stuff out here already. I've got to get rid of some of this stuff before I can go in there. But I don't know if it'll qualify for the challenge, but I can still have fun with it using what I have. And what I have are pony beads from the Dollar Tree. Oh. I've got one more row, but I've got to run pick up some more pony beads before I can put the last row of the, it's not a round motif, the pattern, like there's so many repeats in a pattern, a repeat, that's it. I've got one more row to do on the repeat, and I need one more bag of beads. Let me show it to you. I just think it's going to be the cutest thing. Look at that, look at that. Now I done the multicolor beads like on my gnome house, and then I had a bag of gold and a bag of silver. So I put those together for one row, and I want to do the next row with these colorful beads, and those are the ones I'm out of. So I've got to run to the Dollar Tree and pick out another bag of those. I'll probably get a couple bags of that because I need to put more on my gnome home too. So that's all that's on my hook. Seems like there was something else. Oh yeah, now I remember. For the fun thing, I saw online where there's a couple companies doing this, where you can get souvenir plots in Scotland. There are a couple different companies. I did my research, and the company I chose is actually planting trees. That is what you're actually paying for, is to have a tree planted. But they're calling it a souvenir plot, where the tree's planted. That's your souvenir plot, where you don't exactly own it, but you do. You've got like a pretend deed for it, because it's a souvenir. It's not a real thing. I have absolutely no rights to anything in Scotland. I love Scotland, so I like the idea of having a souvenir plot and having a tree printed on it. And way back when landowners were called lairds, L-A-I-R-D, which would translate into English as lord. So you had your lords and ladies, which were the landowners. So it's more or less a pretend thing. And I got a certificate, a proclamation, where I'm now Lady Donna. And I just thought that was the cutest thing. And I wanted that for my wall. Plus, planting a tree, good for the environment. So I posted that on Instagram, where I'm Lady Donna, and I'm really enjoying it. And ladies, don't go messaging me that it's a scam, because I know this. I know it's not real. I know that it's a square foot, which is tiny. I can't do anything with that land. I've got no real legal claims to that land. But it is associated with my name and my tree that I've got no rights to. But it's a souvenir, y'all. It's all for fun. And I love it. And I always envisioned, even when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a princess or a lady. Well, here's my claim to being a lady. Even if it isn't For real. I still love it. I still believe in make-believe. Oh, sorry about that. Well, anyway, I'm having a ball with it, and it's something I really enjoy. And even if they don't plant trees with my money, I don't care. I actually saw that they have a contract to plant trees. So I'm living on faith, and it's up to the Lord to deal with them if they don't do as they said. Not my issue. It's a souvenir, and I liked it, and I enjoy it. So there you go. I'm not gonna say what company I used or anything like that, cause it's pretty rampant on Facebook now. But anywho, you know me, I do what I do, and I try to enjoy myself, and that's all that really counts. And the thing is, I didn't pay nearly what it's listed for. There was a Father's Day sale where I got it for almost nothing, and I didn't mind parting with that money. I wouldn't have spent it if I did. So, yeah. I know I'm a mess, but I've lived long enough to where I don't care. As long as I'm having fun, that's all that matters. As long as I'm not hurting anybody. And I'm not hurting nobody. I love people too much to hurt them on purpose. Thinking. I can't think of nothing else. This is Movie and a Stitch week, so you will be getting a video from me on Wednesday. I'll probably do it later today, so I'll still be wearing this shirt. So until then, as always, I wish you guys a lot of love in your life. Try to share that and love others. And stay safe, most of all. Please be safe. I know in the United States, a lot of places are lifting the mask order. And that confuses me, because they said we're going to have, they're pushing the shot, and then we're going to have another shot because of all the variants. Well, if there are all these variants and you're still in danger having to have a shot because of it, why are you taking the mask away? It doesn't make sense to me. And I know a lot of people are against masks and they're happy, but that's not my thing. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll meet somewhere in between. Stay safe and love one another. Bye-bye.